everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. And we are really excited. Today, we are talking about the very first of the Hallmark Countdown to Christmas films. We always look forward to this every year. And today, we're talking about two of those films. And then we also have another episode with my friend David Rosen, where we talk about the Hallmark Movies Mysteries film and the other remaining, we talk about Kismet Christmas there. So going to be fun for you to listen to that. We'll put all the information in the description. But I'm film critic Grace Wagner, and today I have my friend Betsie from Hallmark Happenings here.
Hello, everybody.
Yay. And we have our friend Megan is here.
Hello. Merry Christmas in October.
Merry Christmas. Yes. So overall, I mean, you all saw the movies this weekend. Do you think it was a pretty good start for Hallmark? What do you think, Betsie?
I thought it was pretty good. I thought they were kind of different, unique storylines to kick it off, and not necessarily. Actually, I watched two of them, but the ones I watched didn't seem like your average, like cookie cutter Christmas movies. They were a little different, so that was kind of nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What did you think, Megan?
Yeah, I definitely had moments where I was laughing out loud, and I enjoyed it. I think they did a great job.
Yeah. Yeah, I was really pleased too. And I feel like I'm always a little bit soft on these first weekend of movies. Because I'm just so excited to be starting the season. And I've worked so hard previewing everything. But I'm very, very pleased with this first weekend of movies for sure. So let's see. All right. Well, let's dive in. Let's talk about Noelle Next Door. This was the first movie. This was on Friday that they had. And this movie stars Natalie Hall, Corey Sevier, director Mark McGuire, writer Keith Hemstreet. It follows a single mom as she gets into a war of words with a neighbor who is ruining Christmas, only to find that this misunderstood grouch just may steal her heart. So overall, Megan, what did you think about this movie?
Overall, I liked it. I thought it was funny. I'm so anxious to find out if you think he was Scrooge enough. Mm-hmm. Because you have commented that some of the Scrooges or Scrooge type characters are not Scrooge enough. So I can't wait to hear your opinion on that. I thought it was great. I think they had good chemistry. I know they were in a movie before that we didn't really love the script. I thought the script was much better. It had real humor, and I think it was overall, I mean, it was a great first movie, I think.
Yeah, like Nashville Christmas Carol, where people are literally begging to work for Scrooge, for Jesse Schramm in that movie. Like, that is not a Scrooge to me. But what did you think of it overall, Betsie?
I actually really, really liked it. I think we actually, back in the spring, it was Road Trip Romance. I think Megan was on that call too. We were talking about it, and I know we were kind of like, this one definitely was an improvement. I thought it was so funny because I don't know if I was crazy about the chemistry in that movie, but I feel like Natalie and Corey had a lot better chemistry in this one. I don't know if it was just a script or what, but they really clicked so much in this one. It was nice and it was different, and the humor was great. And they said some things I was a little surprised about that were humorous and then real as well. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. I thought it was a pretty good start to the season. But, and Megan, you're going to laugh, I do agree that he wasn't all that Grinchy. I mean, all that Scroogey. Because, yes, he was, I mean, more so than Jesse Schramm in Nashville Christmas Carol. But I would get very annoyed if this kid kept kicking his ball at my house when I had asked him multiple times to stop. It's not like there's other places, like kick the ball other places, like kick it at your own house. I don't understand why you needed to kick it at his house. And I think that is like a reasonable thing to be irritated about. Also, like considering he has like a legit disability, and the fact that he complained about the cords tripping him, like that's not him being a Scrooge. That's him like wanting to walk effectively. Like, so I think that that's not unreasonable either. So I think that a lot of the things I would be getting irritated as well that he was getting irritated about.
Yeah, I understand that. I guess I did feel his kind of, yeah, it wasn't even like he was mean. It wasn't mean spirited. It was more just he was like depressed. I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he was, down, and that I did. There was an arc. I felt at least
Oh,
that
yeah, yeah,
he
I
definitely
agree.
maybe he wasn't very. Yeah, I do understand. We have a basketball hoop like in the center of our complex, and kids are playing there like all day long, and I can hear the basketball like bouncing and it can get kind of annoying. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, especially because he asked him several times. Like, I just don't understand why he couldn't find another place to practice soccer.
Yeah, the kid was definitely going through something as well.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think he had some issues with the divorce and such. So yeah, he was also, yeah, saw a lot of things on Twitter about his behavior, the kid's behavior.
Yeah, I felt like this movie was kind of made Christmassy last minute. There were little details that I was like, "What? That's weird." And like the fact that they playing Claire de Lune at the Christmas concert, like that's not a Christmas song. Why are they playing that?
Hmm. I
Yeah.
didn't, yeah, I guess you're right. I didn't
And
really
like
notice that, but yeah, that's a good point.
yeah, and the just some of the like food choices and clothes choices and stuff like that, I was kind of like I think they changed. I wouldn't be surprised at least if this was kind of last minute made into a Christmas movie.
That makes sense. What did you think about the bunny? That just made me want a bunny.
It's a really cute bunny. Now, I am not an animal person in general, and so I would be alarmed if I had an animal that in my house. So I can kind of understand why he was frustrated about that, but it was a very nice bunny.
Well, I was thinking there's so many worse things that could get into your house, like a pet snake, I'd be pretty mad. A pet bird,
Yeah.
like a pet
Oh yeah.
bunny. Yeah, it's definitely concerning, but it's probably one of the cutest things that could be.
What did you think of that? Did you think he was Scrooge enough, Betsy?
I have okay, I'm trying to think where to start. He had his moments. I mean, I think certain things make you mad, and then the way some people treat him, and just for something he can't help but helping. I mean, that's really unfortunate, and I can see why that would make people mad. And then it's just everyone goes through a tough time. Like the landlord guy or the
Mhm.
manager, I don't know what he was, Luis, or I think what his name was, and he was like,
Yeah.
"I'm trying to see things better." And so, I mean, everyone's going through something. That was a really good lesson. And I have a quick story. I had this kitten like 5 months ago, like it woke me up from my bedroom. There was a window by my bed, and I could hear this meowing. And it woke me up at like 6 a.m. I was like, "What's going on?" And I looked out the window. There's this tiny kitten, and then it got like aggressive, and it started like hitting at my door, and I was like freaking out. And so I went outside, and I tried to kind of like scoot it away with the broom, and it ran at me and attacked me. It didn't actually touch me, but gosh, it touched that broom, and I was like, I ran across the street to try to like get away from it, and it got lost over there. But I mean, it was an experience. So having like an animal like near your house or in
Yeah.
your house, depending on the situation, I mean, you never know about bunnies. They could be nutty
Yeah.
bunnies. But yeah, I
No,
mean, I can understand being a little freaked out.
bunnies can be mean. They absolutely can.
Yeah.
My sister had a mean bunny for a while, and and it was not nice. But this one was nice. But I you just don't want an unfamiliar animal in your house. Like
Mhm.
that's a not a good situation. So I understood that. So I was well, I forget what his name was, but I was on Team Corey for a lot of this movie. Whatever his
Yeah, I think a
character's name
lot of
was.
people were.
Yeah. I did my favorite scene in the whole movie that made me laugh was this blind date that she goes on at the beginning. I thought it was kind of hilarious. The guy, he only reads nonfiction. Uh, he was just over the top and funny, very neurotic.
Yeah, that made me think about how you were saying you would take or you would go on a date with anyone or have a meal with anyone. I was like, I
Yeah,
wonder if Rachel would have a meal with this guy.
I would. I would.
and or he believed in the flat earth.
Yeah. Hey, I'll let at least you have a funny story at the end. I'll let anybody buy me dinner one time, but there definitely wouldn't be a second date with this guy. Only reading nonfiction. That was really funny. He's like, Shakespeare, no good. Jane Austen, no good. Charles Dickens, no good. I don't know. It was funny.
Yeah, that was really funny.
Would you want to go on a date with that guy, Betsie?
Oh gosh, it's like so like reflective of like our culture now. It's like so like picky. I feel like everyone's become picky. You know what I mean about different things.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we have strong opinions, I guess, and he had some strong ones. I'm like all chill, go with the flow. I could not stand it. I'm like, just drink a carbonated beverage. I didn't like carbonated beverages. I'm like, what?
Oh, damn. No more caffeine for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was the highlight of the movie for me. That blind date was really funny, I thought.
Hey, this is David from the Piecing It Together podcast, a podcast about movies and the movies that inspire them. For over 4 years, each week, a guest and I take a look at a new movie through the lens of what other movies we think were either an influence or connect in some other way. It's a fun, unique way to discuss films that leads to a great list of other movies to check out that either explore the same themes and ideas or maybe utilize similar filmmaking techniques. Including special episodes in our side series that twist the format, we've done over 200 episodes, so there's bound to be one on a film you've been thinking about and want to dig deeper into. So check us out on all the major podcasting apps and at piecingpod.com.
I was surprised that they leaned in so hard into her being in this really messy divorce. Like with him having a mistress and wanting to take her son away, and like him saying they were a more established family, even though he's not even married to it. Like that was really weird. I can't think of any other Hallmark I've ever seen where, like, yeah, we've had some divorces in the movies, divorcees, but we've never had one in like with a mistress and this kind of like tension and getting lawyers and stuff like that. Like that was a lot, I thought.
Yeah, it definitely was more than I've seen in Hallmark for sure.
Yeah.
Especially, yeah, the fighting over, where he's going to spend Christmas. And that felt weird because it seemed like the ex-husband didn't live that far away. So it seems that you would split the day.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that was.
And that's what they eventually decide to do.
Yeah, like that would have been decided on much earlier, especially if they didn't. There was no mention of him living, so far away.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely was not good for stepmoms. I was like, not all stepmoms are like this.
Yeah, that's
trying
true.
to take their kids away from their mothers on Christmas. Like,
yeah, he says that the little boy. He says that that the stepmom doesn't like him.
Yeah, I was so sad.
Were you surprised by that, Betsie? I was so surprised that that any character would try to sell him and his mistress as like the more family friendly option. It was surprising in a Hallmark movie, I thought.
Yeah, for a Hallmark movie for sure. I like said that word a couple times. I was like, oh wow, it's like a royal drama. You hear that word a lot. But yeah, I mean, definitely. But it's so true to life, and like I feel like when it comes to like that kind of like broken relationship or divorce, each side has their own story why they think they're the best. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I mean, it's real, it's true to life. So, but it's like let the kid decide,
yeah. Make it the best for the kid, and kind of shaming her for being single when you're the one that left her for your mistress. Like, what?
Yeah, that didn't make his thinking that they were more of a family. It's like, well, I think being with your mom is pretty much a family. Like, well, but I thought what even was more shocking than that was when Corey's character gets out like the hard alcohol. I was like, I don't think I've ever seen hard alcohol on a Hallmark channel.
Yeah, that was surprising.
Like wine and beer, but hard. I mean, I think that was supposed to be like hard alcohol, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be like vodka, I think.
Yeah. Supposedly he drinks the whole bottle. Like, oh my God,
Yeah, that was intense. And also the whole scene, I agreed with him about complaining about the power cords, but when the one guy's like, "Please don't sue me," I was like, "That's intense for a Hallmark." I don't know, just everybody's usually nicer in Hallmark movies, and I hear I'm complaining that he wasn't a Scrooge enough, but I don't know. You
Well,
just wouldn't expect a neighbor to say, "Please don't sue me."
well, that whole town had a lot of interesting characters, like the guy who hits on Natalie and won't stop hitting on her. Like, there was a lot of like
Mhm.
the townspeople weren't your normal Hallmark townspeople, you know? They
Yeah.
weren't like all like happy and nice. They were like some of them, like that guy was straight up creepy.
Yeah. How do
Yeah.
you think, Betsy, how do you think they handled his disability in the movie? I mean, he goes on this date and the date is super rude, dismissive, and then she helps and then she leaves and then Natalie's character, Noelle, helps him with his coat and is very, like kind to
Mhm.
him. I don't know. How did you feel like throughout the movie they handled him having this disability?
I mean, it's true to life. It wasn't even just like him, but it was like people's reactions to him. I think it was so accurate. Like this movie, it may not be for Hallmark like this as sweet or as like this dreamland. This isn't, I guess it's just real life, and real life is not dreamland. And people aren't always
Yeah.
nice to you. They don't care that you have a disability, and it's very unfair and it's unfortunate. But then you have someone else come along that's so nice and so caring. And I think this showed that you can have some people that are just not nice and they really don't take into consideration what's going on. Then you have someone who is so nice. So I think it's like also like a message to everybody. If you have something that you're dealing with, just don't give up on people. There are still some good people out there. And then you see there's not like these people are bad people, but it's just they're not, I don't think their actions are quite as nice. And I just thought it was just so sweet when she helped take his jacket off. I was like, see,
Yeah.
so nice, so nice. You don't have to feel like limited or like you can't have good relationships because of something like that. I just thought that was probably the best message of all of this.
Yeah, and I think it's Louise who says the old Jeremy's in there somewhere, which
Mhm.
was, yeah, kind of that idea of don't give up on people if they're having a hard time. And then, yeah, she brings him apple pie and hot chocolate, which seems like a very weird combination to me. That's like, I don't know, to have,
Interesting.
like, I would want, I don't know, I feel like something, I don't know, I just feel like apple pie, we used to have like maybe wassail or something like that with it.
Have what?
Wassail,
What's
like
that?
hot. It's like spice cider.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't know. I thought that was kind of like, wow, of all the things to bring him when he's come to this diner, bring him hot chocolate and pie.
Yeah, because
But
usually you have pie and ice cream, right? I know
yeah,
ice cream's not a drink, but
yeah, yeah. So then he asks for so then they also have the meet cute and the tampon aisle, which is kind of funny.
that was funny.
Turns out it happens every month.
That was so funny.
And then, like the next day, he calls the diner, and then there's this guy that's being like super creepy to her in the diner, and so then he like challenges him. They get into a fight, and that was another thing you don't typically see, like skeevy guys in Hallmark movies.
Exactly. Yeah, he was definitely one of the creepier people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But also,
Yes.
like Betsy said, that's very true to life.
it's true. I was surprised that they went skating, which I kind of liked the fact that I mean, he talks about how the skating is actually easier for him than walking. So, they weren't just like kind of one note about the disability.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Okay. Then we have this whole thing about he plays Claire de Lune and he says is classical music boring. It's boring. What do you think, Betsy? Is classical music boring?
No, it's relaxing, it's chill, and
Yeah.
quick shout out to Taylor Swift for Midnights. I don't know if you've listened to that, but speaking of music, okay, just had to go
Yeah.
on that for okay, but back to the
Yes.
movie.
And there's after the whole rabbit incident where he says he's a glorified rodent, which is funny. And he takes the kid's soccer ball, and I just felt like, why is this kid just keep bothering him? Like, leave him alone. I don't know. The kid was difficult, but like you're saying, it is true to life. I mean, what you figure he's like 8th grade, something like that.
And then
Yeah,
he
especially
lied.
for a kid going through a divorce, like,
Yeah.
definitely act out. So that was yeah, he was definitely he was definitely not making great choices, that child. And he was definitely playing up his mom, like, "Oh, he took my ball," you know, trying to make the other guy sound worse than I think in reality when we saw it wasn't quite as bad.
Mhm. Yeah. What do you think of the kid, Betsy?
Well, she was like, "Are you sure you didn't do anything?" "I didn't do anything." I'm like, "Oh my
Yeah.
gosh." And he could obviously tell that this man has a cane. I mean, you understand at a young age there is something is obviously not right. And I mean, I just gosh, that's frustrating. But, kids, they can be ornery and say stuff, and then at least he changed. At least everyone had a little bit of an arc in this, even the
Yeah.
ornery kid who apparently listens to disturbing podcasts at night.
Oh, I
Yeah.
loved that, the murder yeah, when he was like, "He
He
could
could
be a
be a
serial
serial
killer."
killer. Yeah.
I laughed so hard at that. But yeah, if your child ever says, "Oh no, I didn't do anything wrong," he or she definitely did something wrong.
Yeah. Well, and he does admit the kid says, "Sometimes I do make trouble."
Yeah.
And she says, "All kids make trouble. It's how we learn from our mistakes." So at least he was somewhat self-aware as a kid. And I like the fact when they realize that they're neighbors and she's upset at first, but they didn't do like the whole lie reveal because there was no lie. It was just a miscommunication. And so they weren't like, "Oh, I don't know." They were just like, "Oh, okay." Like I thought it
Yeah,
was also pretty realistic of what would happen.
right, like, in some other movies, he would have, like, lied and, like, tried to pretend he wasn't the
Yes.
neighbor. Yeah, I agree that I'm glad they didn't go down that route. That would've just been pointless.
Yeah. So and then this is when he drinks the vodka, the scene. It was it felt a little bit like a soap opera in moments of this movie. And I think both of them have done soaps. I think Natalie at least has. So I don't know. It had some of those melodrama moments in it, which was interesting. Um, and so then, yeah, the kid's name is Henry. So Henry comes over, apologizes to Jeremy, and then Jeremy apologizes to Henry, and Henry says, "Would it be okay if you asked my mom on another date? She was really happy, and she's hardly happy anymore." So that was cute.
That was sweet. And
That was real
oh,
cute.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
sweet. Yeah, they all came around. They had
Uh-huh.
definite arcs.
So he apologizes to Noelle then, and she says, "What is it that you have against Christmas anyway?" And here's where we find out the big reveal is that his stroke happened on Christmas. Of course. These kind of movies. Nobody ever dies on any day but Christmas or has a stroke or it always has to be on Christmas in these movies. Um, and so then I really loved the whole section where they spend Christmas morning together and like Henry's opening the presents and they're just like she's in her jams and they're just being all cozy. That was really fun.
That was really cute.
Yeah. And then we had a near kiss with Henry stopping them and I'm just like ah. What do you think of near kisses, Betsy?
I muted myself. You know, sometimes you like them, sometimes you don't. But that's just these movies. There's always the almost kiss that's interrupted by something.
Yeah. I mean, at least this is better than being interrupted by the cell phone
Mhm.
because I know if I was going to be kissing Corey Sevier, I would not let a phone stop me. Like, I would go
LOL.
for it.
Oh my
I
gosh.
mean, it's ridiculous. Nobody would stop for a cell phone.
Yeah, definitely not.
It can go to voicemail.
Like a kid, it makes more sense because, like, you might be a little shy about, kissing in
Yeah,
front of your
making out in
kid.
front of your kid. Yeah.
So that's like a pretty decent near kiss. But I was just like, oh, we almost got one. Ugh. And then they've set back up the night before he had said to Louise that I need your help, and they'd set back up the Christmas tree. And so that was cute. And then they have a kiss in front of the Christmas tree, the community Christmas tree. And I think what they need is one of those like battery packs or whatever that you can plug things into. That way they wouldn't have to have the cords.
You're so practical, Rachel. Why don't
I mean, I think that just makes
so
sense.
practical. You could be in charge of the Christmas tree in your neighborhood.
Okay, I will. Yeah, what do you think of that, Betsy?
Sorry, it was fuzzy a second for a minute. I
You're
couldn't
fine.
hear anything y'all just said for
We were
like the last
talking about
45 seconds.
Oh, you're fine. We were talking about them putting back up the Christmas tree at the
Oh,
end.
do you mean like when Oh, yeah, at the very end where everyone, like, came out? Is that the one? And they, like, unveiled the tree? Is that what
Yeah, he
Yeah.
had them take it down because of the
Yeah.
cords. And so then he got Louise to put it back up at the end. And I was saying that they should have one of those battery packs so that way they wouldn't need to have the cords. So
Very
it could be
true.
safe for
Wireless,
everybody.
Bluetooth.
Yeah.
A Bluetooth tree, all cord-free. Now that's a nice thought. Probably
Yeah.
$1,000 tree, but hey, I bet you there is one out there.
But I don't think those battery packs are that expensive.
Nah.
They could
Get a
do.
Duracell.
Yeah, especially if it's like Christmas Day, you only need it up for a little bit. But anyway, it was cute. And then they go to the symphony, and I guess in this town they have symphony on Christmas Day.
Was it a flash forward?
Oh, was it?
I think it was.
Oh.
I don't know, Betsy, did you think that, or am I the only one who thought that?
She
I
was
never
wearing
thought
black,
it. Huh.
which I don't love on Christmas. Maybe that was their signal that it was a fast forward.
Hmm.
Yeah, because it's
I thought
supposed
it
to be
was-
his. I thought it was supposed to be his orchestra or whatever. His
Oh, yeah.
what he I'm
Yeah, I
drawing a
think you're
blank on
right
the
'cause
word, but you know
Mhm.
what I'm saying?
I
The
think you're
music
right
that he
because
wrote.
yeah, I think you're right because she says that she's so proud of him.
Yeah, so I think it's a
Yes.
fast forward. It's like now they're back. They're watching his music be performed that he wrote.
It was a little confusing. They should have had like a title card or something.
Yeah,
1
definitely.
A
year
year later or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But overall, I thought it was a cute movie. I thought that Natalie was really good as she always is, and it had a nice community spirit about it. So I would give this out of 5. I'd give it 3.5 crowns. What about you, Megan?
I think I'm right there with you. I think 3.5 sounds pretty good.
Mhm.
It's also these first movies, it's hard because we have nothing really to compare them to except for like the memory of the movies from last year. So
Yeah.
I definitely think it was a good start, and I think 3.5 sounds just right.
What do you think, Betsy?
I'm gonna say 4. I actually really liked it. I'll say a 4 because it was different.
Mhm.
I liked
Yeah.
it.
Very good. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
Next, we Wish You a Merried Christmas. This was on the 22nd. Marisol Nichols and Christopher Palaha, and director Paul Ziller, writer Nicole Baxter. And it's Becca and Robbie are a married couple having a hard time connecting with each other as the holidays approach. Just before Christmas, they head to a cozy Vermont inn at the advice of their marriage coach so they can recharge. Their weekend away gets unexpectedly extended when a mishap puts their car out of commission and just may put them on the road to a very happily married Christmas. So my overall feelings of this movie is overall, I enjoyed it. I thought it was sweet, well done, had some funny parts. I liked the stars, but I have to say there's something about the I have to say that there's something that's just feels less like believable to me and just harder for me to like buy into about a couple solving all of their problems in a week than the idea of a couple getting together and starting kind of their journey, like is the normal arc for these movies. And I've seen enough of these marriage and crisis movies to know that I don't think they're really my favorite. Like, I think that this is well done, but I don't know. I find it just not quite as magical and entertaining as the traditional romances. But I mean, I think it's good they keep doing them because we need some variety. But I don't know. What do you think, Megan?
I can see how you think that. I did say to my husband, I was like, well, they're on vacation. Everyone's good at vacation.
Yeah,
We're great at vacation.
yeah.
We're the best couple ever. So, I mean, but I did think it was really cute overall. I thought that the leads did have good chemistry. I liked it didn't seem that they had that many problems. So, in terms of like, getting over their issues, it just seemed like they weren't communicating or really spending time together. It wasn't like they disliked each other or they really had I couldn't even really tell, what their major issues were besides just miscommunication and not spending time together. So for that, I didn't think it was too unbelievable, but overall, I thought it was really cute. I did get my husband to watch it. Now our marriage is in jeopardy. No, I'm just kidding. He liked it. He thought, I mean, as much as he can like a Hallmark movie, but yeah, so we thought it was funny.
Yeah. So what do you think, Betsy?
It was definitely different. They're kind of going for different stuff right off the bat, so that's nice. Like you said, variety. I do agree. I like the initial magic of meeting someone new, but so many of these are like people who used to know each other or high school sweethearts, or whatnot. I like when there's two people who've never met each other, like kind of in Noelle Next Door. I just like when two people have never met and they come together. You get this like really initial like enchantment with each other, and then this is about a couple with disenchantment. But maybe it just takes a vacation to realize what your problems are. Of course, it won't fix it, but at least you can pinpoint it and maybe you can work on it.
And it was fun to see Pascal Hutton as the therapist. We'd gotten that little tidbit of information from Christopher when we had him on the podcast. He told us that she was the therapist, and so I knew that was coming, but it was fun. And yeah, it seemed like their biggest problems. Doing a renovation is so stressful. So I can understand why that would kind of exacerbate anything with housing or moving or renovating is the worst. And so that would exacerbate any of their issues that they were having. And like the whole fight about the microwave.
That was funny. Because I can't reach anything in my kitchen. Nothing. Everything is too tall. I need like a stool for everything. So I completely understood how she feels.
Yeah. Yeah. And she has this, I mean, he's very, very tall,
Yeah,
but
they had a big height difference.
uh-huh. Yeah, but she doesn't seem like that short to me, but I guess it's like a foot difference. So, but that seemed to be sort of the main. He didn't realize that she had stopped eating meat, and I guess it had been a couple of months. So that was kind of a big moment that he didn't realize that. And they just, yeah, hadn't been communicating very well. Betsie, did you think they had good chemistry? I mean, they're not supposed to have chemistry at the beginning because they're not getting along.
That's true. Interesting, like, way to think about it. I guess it's so hard to tell almost when they just are kind of not clicking for the majority of the film. It's like, is there really chemistry there? I don't know. It's hard to tell. I have no comment on that.
Did you think they grew into chemistry? Did you buy it by the end?
A little bit, like, they had the moments, like, where they were kinda, like, looking at each other, kind of towards the end, and you could tell that maybe I just there wasn't enough, like, I guess, to like, the film was nearly over by the time that kinda started coming to the screen, so it's just hard to tell. Maybe I don't know if they had sped that up a
Mhm.
little bit, but I don't know. I mean, it's so hard to know. People don't even do screen tests. I mean, you just put them together and you hope they're good
Yeah,
enough
that's
actors, there
true.
is chemistry, so I don't know. It's like, I heard that Britney Spears auditioned for The Notebook, which is crazy, but then, of course, you see Rachel McAdams in it, and they had to do the screen test to see this amazing chemistry. I just think it's impossible to have, like, the absolute best chemistry without a screen test. That's my opinion,
Mhm.
but that's just not how
Yeah.
these movies work.
What did you think, Megan, about their chemistry?
Well, see, I guess I thought they did win me over in the end. Like, I thought their
Yeah.
kiss was pretty good. And I don't know, there's also Christopher Ploha is just so attractive. And his eyes, like when he looked at her, like I really felt like he was like looking at her with like adoration and love. But he kind of looks like that to everybody. Like
Mhm.
he could look so, but I thought their kiss was good. And I thought, when they both walk out for the date, the looks they gave each other, I could feel it. I thought they had good chemistry, but
Yeah.
you're right that it is hard when they start off with, not that they're not supposed to have chemistry because they're supposed to be sort of off and they're not supposed to be like enemies because you don't want them to be hate each other.
Yeah, it's tricky.
It's not an enemies to lover story. So it's like so it is interesting, but I thought they did a pretty good job. All that said.
So let's talk about this mythology of this town, whatever's the magic of this town. Because so Vince and Brian are a couple that own the inn, and they evidently, this is a thing where they have this ornament that crashes into people's windshields, and they end up keeping them there for the whole week. And that doesn't seem like a very profitable business for them, because when they come back in and their window has been broken, they say, oh well, it's on us for the week, you don't have to pay for it. So they must be getting some kind of help from Santa, is what I figure.
Well, I have lots of questions about this. Number one, my number one question is the therapist like a silent partner?
Yeah,
Is
that's
she like
true.
an angel investor in this inn? At first, I thought that's what it was going to be. I thought she'd be like pull out a brochure for the place. Like, she gets these married couples and then she sends them to her inn. But then, yeah, when they offered them the whole week for free, I thought, well, you're going to be on the next Hallmark movie needing to save your inns.
Yeah.
I'm just very confused about the whole thing. But I did think it was funny at the end when that happened to the next couple. I thought it was kind of like a wink, wink to us as viewers who watch these
Yeah.
movies. And yeah, I mean, the idea that you would have an inn where you're also trying to save people's marriages. I mean, talk about a hard thing to do. So, but I thought it was a wink, wink, and it was funny.
Well, I just think that like Christmas magic is helping them somehow.
Oh,
Like
see,
I
I
think
didn't even go
Santa
there.
and stuff like that is like somebody is helping them like with the inn to be able to do this, kind of thing. There's some kind of support, I guess. And evidently whoever it is that's supporting the inn loves alpacas. They're crazy for alpacas all over this whole town. But then I heard on Twitter, some people said there weren't enough alpacas. Did you have an opinion on that, Betsie, on the alpacas?
Oh, that's funny. They did kind of promote the alpacas a lot in like the previews and stuff. So I was even expecting more alpaca, like maybe an alpaca theme at just like the end. Like there were, I'm talking like an abundance of an alpacas. That's what I was expecting, but it was still nice. They're cute.
Yeah, I don't think we've had an alpaca in a Hallmark movie since the Vineyard movies. Didn't they? I think they have one in there. The Rachel, it's
One with Rachel Cook?
Yeah, they have an alpaca there, I think.
They do. Muffin.
Alpacas live. Like, I've never seen an alpaca before in my life.
I don't know.
Like, is that a Vermont thing? Because they're supposed to be in Vermont, right?
Yeah,
so, like, is Vermont known for its alpacas, or that was just like something silly they put in? I'm not sure. I need to know more about the alpaca.
I should have asked Christopher that I should have asked him about the alpacas. And
is that alpaca gram thing real? Is that something that you can actually get?
We should look it up. What was it? Was it just called alpaca grams?
I think so. I'm like, is this like on TikTok and I'm just not hip to it?
Well, there is. Oh my gosh. Valentine's Day alpaca grams are the new best way to say I care. This Valentine's Day, the new best way to say I love you isn't a box of chocolates or a singing gram. No, it's FaceTime call from a baby alpaca based in Peru.
Okay, I hard disagree with that. I'd rather take the chocolate any day. I hard disagree. Husband's listening. No.
Do you want it, Betsie? Do you want an alpaca gram?
It would be unique and different. I'm for it. I know people used to send like potatoes, like they would carve into potatoes. I don't know if y'all heard that on the news like a few years ago, and they would send these like potatoes with hearts in them to people. I would much rather have an alpaca gram.
Yeah, you're right. It is unique.
These are our choices: potatoes and alpacas.
I know it. In Hawaii, you can send a coconut to people, so that would be fun. But pretty much anything that you can write on, you can mail.
Really?
Yeah, as long as it's not like dangerous. You can, if you can write, like if you can. I mean, sometimes it would be very, very expensive, but yeah, like if you wanted to, you could mail a bowling ball, for instance, but that would be very expensive because it's very heavy. But anything you can write an address on, you can mail.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think it could be perishable or dangerous. That would be the only. But so then they put them to work, of course, right away. We find out that Paloha's character is like a secret baker, and she's like, I didn't know you baked. And so they're in charge of the pies, and they send them all around to get all the pie stuff. And that's when we find out about the alpaca grams, like you said. And a little shopping seems to like do a lot for their relationship. And it's probably better if it's shopping for other people than your own stuff. Like, because it's stressful trying to find a present for somebody, especially when you're not getting along.
Definitely. That is stressful. But yeah, I think like just going shopping in the market it brings that Christmas spirit to you, and then you fall back in love.
Yeah, and it turns out he took the baking class in order to bake for her at Christmas. So that was kind of a cute moment.
That was really cute.
Mm-hmm. And then he says he apologizes for not listening to her. And there's these like trees that have been returned. They're just like hanging out there. And so then they decide to take them. And those were like nice trees to just discard. But those trees are probably $50 each, at least. So, but anyway, they go to the hotel with the trees, and they have their his or hers trees, and that's when things start to sort of turn around.
Yeah, definitely. Over the decorating the trees.
Mm-hmm. One thing I didn't understand is they criticize him for having an ugly sweater. It's literally just a red sweater.
Yeah, I think that was supposed to be a joke. That just didn't land right. Because it's not a ugly sweater. And I was thinking, gosh, I'm so over ugly sweaters. Like, I'm over it.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I'm done with the ugly sweater trope. I've moved on.
So evidently she's like a great mixologist. So she goes behind.
That's hilarious.
She goes behind the bar and she's making martinis and champagne cocktails and all kinds of stuff. I don't drink. What did you think of this, Megan?
I thought they all looked disgusting. I would never drink any of those drinks. They were like, when someone asked for like a white chocolate mocha martini, I was like, what? Like, would people drink that? That sounds like something you would, maybe order when you're like 21, but no, thank you.
Well, and having the mocha, it's made it sound like a coffee. Like, I'm like, is he a barista or is he a mixologist? Like, what?
Yeah, I mean, they do make espresso martinis, and I shouldn't say this because I work in coffee, but I think espresso martinis are gross.
Uh-huh.
I think I just want mine with olives. I want my dirty with olives. I don't want I just thought they all looked, but it was a fun scene to watch them make all the drinks and then like toast the marshmallow. Like, it was a fun scene. I enjoyed watching this scene, but yeah, the drinks were pretty unrealistic. But
ho ho ho! We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies. And one year, I think this was actually 2017, they were really into these holiday drinks on Hallmark movies. And I just never forget in the Mistletoe Inn, the one with Alicia Witt, they have her make a Tiny Tim.
what's in the Tiny Tim?
I can't remember, but I just always thought that was so funny. Why would you have an alcoholic beverage named after a child?
Not a great name.
Anyway, but here's another question I have. So they have this parade that's like got like 2 floats and like it's very small. And my question is, do they bring out the parade for every single couple? Like this next couple that's coming, are they going to get the parade? And is that why it's so short?
I have no idea, but I thought it was weird. Yeah, I mean, they also they took their dog. The dog was on the parade by itself.
Jerry the dog.
Yeah, look, my dog would never leave to go be on a parade by itself.
What do you think, Betsie, about the parade?
thought they were so supportive of that little dog up there. They were so funny. "Go, Jerry!" And I was just like, I loved that. That was my favorite moment of the entire movie. They were just proud for her parents, and I loved it.
They have there's a scene with them dancing. They go on the holiday light stroll, and he says, "When was the last time we just wandered together?" That was a nice moment, nice line, I thought. And he says he's sorry for not noticing her or making her feel that he didn't notice her. And then they're dancing in the and they have a pretty big kiss in the gazebo. And I feel like we haven't seen the gazebos as much lately in Hallmark movies. They used to always be there, the same gazebo in Vancouver.
I love a gazebo. I really do. We have one in our like downtown, and every time I pass it, I'm like, it's like a Hallmark movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so then her mother says, "Oh, I could sense there was something wrong," which I'm not sure why, she did, but the car's ready. Before that, they have their like cuddly movie watching night where they're watching a version of Christmas Carol that I actually haven't seen with Vincent Price. I didn't even know this existed. And I've seen a lot of versions of Christmas Carol, so that says something. But I was like pausing it, trying to, oh, which one is it? Which one is it? And he says, "What happens outside of the bubble? I want things to change, but do you really see that happening?" And yeah, I mean, I think that's like the leap you have to take with this movie. What do you think, Betsy, about that?
I agree with what you're saying. It's like, yeah, like, are you talking about like kind of maybe going forward outside of like the sweet bubble they're into? Yeah. Well, it's again real life, and you got to find a way to implement what you're doing in this lovely make believe world and then transition and take it with you to the real world, which I think can happen with work and communication, as stated in the movie.
There's also this little side relationship between Antonio and this woman, Kayla, who does the pet paintings. And Antonio gives a scarf to Kayla at the end. And Kayla does a painting, paints a painting of Jerry that then she gives to, that then they give to, I forget the characters' names, but Christopher Paloha's character gets the painting, and I've missed you for years, and I'm going to make you my priority. So that was pretty cute. And the dog, I mean, Jerry was very cute.
Yes, the dog was really sweet.
Mm-hmm. And then we, like you said, we get a pretty good kiss at the end, and then you see this other couple with the ornament in their windshield.
I laughed so hard at that. I was like, that's funny.
Yeah. I mean, I do think like changing a windshield is like very easy. Like it's such a small, I don't know what you could do to really stall people, but I mean that you can have that done in under an hour. But I guess this is a small town.
Yeah, maybe they're closed. What was that?
Yeah.
There was one movie where there was that, I think it was the movie with Natalie Hall, the Renaissance Fair movie, where they were like, "Oh, we can't repair it today because we're celebrating the Renaissance." Remember that?
Right,
We have
yeah.
no electricity.
Yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, I did enjoy the movie. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as Noelle Next Door. If I had to pick, it's just preference. I just prefer. I feel like they've done enough of these marriage and crisis movies that they're not like novel anymore. Like they've done quite a few of them. There's one every year at least, and multiple sometimes. So I don't really give it that many points for that. But I liked the leads. I liked the humor. I liked Vince and Brian. They were a lot of fun. It was fun seeing Pascal Hutton at the beginning. So I would give this one a 3.25, just under what I gave Noelle Next Door. But what about you, Betsy? What would you give it?
I have Noel Next Door 4. I'll do this at 3.5.
What do you think, Megan?
Yeah, I'm going to go 3.5.
Yeah.
I kind of like them equally.
Well, let us know what you think of these two movies. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section or on Twitter. And Betsie, where can people find you?
At Hallmark Happenings on Instagram, on YouTube, or you can just go to www.hallmarkhappenings.com, and there's a bunch of little icons for social links up there. But yeah, thanks so much for having me on.
Thanks so much for coming on. And Megan, where can people find you?
So on Twitter, I'm at Megan D320. So I'll try to start tweeting. I'm not a huge Twitterer, but I do follow along with everyone who live tweets. And I do think it's fun. And on Instagram, I'm Megan Ruth 320.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. Also, make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews, 5 stars to both ours and Betsie's podcast. It would really help us out a lot. And if you are listening on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have the Patreon group and merch store. We've got lots of fun new festive designs, so check that out. And thanks so much, everybody. Merry Christmas. Bye.